Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happenstance into this Truth Bomb riff. My name is Patrick Lovell, the producer, and I'm riffing with you on Monday, January 27th, 2025, at approximately noon my time. And gonna kind of keep it quick because got a lot going on, but a lot's going on all the time, but it's really all the same stuff that's been going on all the time with just the added dimension of the buffoonery, the circus, the dangerous roulette, the insanity that is now unfolding in a monumental puke fest through the MAGA universe and Trump apocalypse that is this combination of Frankenstein meets Godzilla in a way that just reflects everything that I've been trying to get your attention about forever. And what's really set me off this morning that I want to address is this continued mainstream reaction post Joe Biden's departure speech that we are indeed an oligarchy. And then the somewhat shock value of, oh my God, this is what's going on. This is how it works, and this is how it's being rammed down our throats in a way that is kind of like this seismic shift in terms of the sort of looking at the angle of what we have to, kind of reflect in terms of what the broader story is. But what I just tweeted and what I'll attach to this video to be a part of, and hopefully people will read through the thread and then watch this and then share this and then get on board in a monumental way. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are really wanting to get to a meaningful resistance, that are willing to step up for all of the things that they know are really about to be brutalized. But what's insane about that, the first composite that you have to kind of wrap your head around is, okay, then where was the 13 million votes that went Biden's way that didn't show up for Kamala, first and foremost? Second of all, apparently like north of 80 million people didn't vote in the election, and that's just to be expected, not to mention all of the other insanity by way of voter suppression. And then when I'm learning more about potential sabotage and literally stealing the election sort of thing. And there are elements of that that I'm getting more and more in tune with. But the bottom line is we brought this upon ourselves, and not because of people like me. I posted yesterday. It's like, look, none of this effort that I've ever been trying to do is to make me powerful, to make me above anybody else, to make me somewhat of a celebrity or a superstar, and that I'm this guy with this ego-driven sort of kind of like, hey, everybody, listen to me because I'm the only guy that's got the answers, even though I'm the only guy that's got the answers. No, you plus me equals we the people. The fact that I haven't been able to connect with the tens of millions of you out there, yeah, is part of suppression and being quashed by the powers that be and the algorithms and all of the rest of it. But it's also about your failure, not my failure. I've always been powerful. I've always been dynamic. I've always been a guy who lives up to my virtues because it was the way I was raised. I believe in integrity above all else because I know that nothing can function without integrity. And that's what led me on my adventure as the producer that enabled me to make my first foray into this sort of extrapolation of what the power system is, the power matrix, and Forward 13 Waking Up the American Dream, which was prologue to The Con, which is a series that gives you the blueprint of how exactly this works, what, of course, mainstream media is not able to do. So they're telling you 14 years after the fact of where I was 14 years ago, of where we are now and what it means. And it's like, oh my God, the sky is falling. No, the sky fell a long time ago, and it fell because of mainstream media, because of their inability to tell the truth, because that's not their business structure, because it depends on the corruption that they've obfuscated that created the oligarchy that they're now asking you to buy into them leading the resistance through clarity. And that would be fucking stupid. That would be almost as stupid as naming Naomi, who is our Secretary of Homeland Security? Um, uh, the woman who shot the dog in South Dakota. Um, I know you're screaming at your screen, among others. I mean, I'll just say, whether it was, Matt Gaetz or, of course, Hegseth, and all of the other buffoonery that is going to be nominated and actually confirmed to go into our cabinet is just these absolute freaking monumental dipshit idiots. And they are so below the line stupid that they're in the sewer and they are the expression of the swamp rats that, Donald Trump claims to have, been sent to cleanse. No, he just made it worse. And I said it right to begin with, Christy Noam. I mean, among other things, right? It's like people, it's a circus of bullshit. And Rachel Maddow is the director of the DNC Wall Street Revolving Door Meritocracy that can't tell you the truths that am telling you. So she cannot be the face of the resistance. And beyond that, because of what mainstream's doing and the way the algorithms work and how all of these bottom feeders in so-called independent media that have created huge audiences, we can set Joe Rogan aside on one side of the fence, and everything that he's done. And I understand why he electrified millions of people to pay attention to him and the way he got to where he was. And now he's something completely different. But the likes of Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball, for example, who I've been guests on their show really 3 times now that I think about it. And, I think they were always with intent in the right place, especially Crystal Ball, but Kyle Kalinske. But at the same time, this is high school shenanigans by way of chasing algos like in a popularity contest, and they're whoring and for the algo. And they don't even know the information that I provided them to their face. And they are an expression to millions of people if they understood what was going on. And yet they're asking the questions over and over and over. Oh my God, we're an oligarchy. But they don't know the answers that I gave to their freaking face that I'm now giving to everyone else. And again, we provided for free because all the American people buy our lives. And the long and the short of it is you can discover all my truth bombs. I think I'm up to 547 truth bombs on YouTube under Patrick Lovell Truth Bombs the Con. Then I also, my team and I created, a website where you can just go watch the most important prolific documentary work that pieces it all together, that gives you the blueprint of how this oligarchy came to be and what we call the con, which is www.thecon.tv, which all then has led me to be on this mammoth odyssey for a very long time, to where I went into these truth bombs to try to get your attention, to try to get people to understand how this whole situation works, that corruption births and fuels fascism, and that it's not rocket science, it's racketeering. And that led us and my colleague Roseanne Rabiot-Lamile to create what we call the Clean New Deal, which are all the answers. Because you got to have 4 questions, the 4 questions, just like Passover. What are the 4 questions? Why is this night different from all other nights? You have to understand 4 questions to understand the Rubik's Cube. The first question you ask, what is qualified immunity? Then the second question you ask is, what is judicial immunity? The third question you ask is, what is presidential immunity? And then you ask, well, what is the Electoral College? Because when you put all of those elements together, eureka, you put all the sides together where it gives you the answer that we're not a democracy. We're a perversion. We're a corporate fascist state undergirded by a criminal syndicate that uses the full faith and credit of the United States of America to guarantee the mafiocracy. And they did it all illegally. And that's what I continue to deliver that nobody else can or will and never has or never will. I'm literally the singularity. Does that make me God? Does that make me the harbinger of the universe? Well, if you want to believe in the light that overcomes the darkness to create a renaissance of possibility to bulldoze the misery of tyranny, then yes, absolutely. Because I'm not the savior. The truth is, I'm just the deliverer because I did the work. And again, it's not about me. It's about you plus me equals we the people. And if you, me, and everyone you see who isn't a Nazi, who believes in dignity and decency and integrity and liberty and justice for all, if we find unity behind the information that I'm providing you, then we can have the force multiplier to be able to erect the truth over the darkness of this deception and lies that's created this incredible oligarchy that now mainstream is safe to say it is, even though they're the ones who created it, so that in our effort, we drive you to what we call the Clean New Deal. Now think about that in context to Trump with dirty hands and his just everything about him is dirty. I mean, they call him Diaper Don. Yeah, that's a pretty good evaluation because that and all of these horrible collagen, lip infused skanks down at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, my God, they look like. Did you guys ever see one of my favorite films was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas when Johnny Depp played Hunter S. Thompson in that incredible novel that was so influential in my life? But he's at the bar in Las Vegas at Circus Circus, and all the lizard brains come out. Yeah, that's what those people at Mar-a-Lago look like to me. I mean, they're just disgusting in every which way. They imbue, they embody, they project just this sickness of polluted everything, right? And so ultimately, that's why we call this the clean New Deal. Now, if you understand American history, and this is what Biden said on the way out, really, he was calling on the angels of our better nature that start with Abraham Lincoln and they go through the trust busting years of Teddy Roosevelt to the progressive era that winds up with FDR and the New Deal. Yeah, that's what this is, part two in 2025, after we've had all this incredible history, only to revert back to what? Make America great again, which was no, let's turn us into a confederacy where the oligarchs and the Confederates can create slave plantations. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Do you not know that? With the complicity of all of the freaking liars in mainstream media that wouldn't tell you the truths that I'm telling you to create the new robber barons. And now they're all like, well, listen to me because we all now know it's an oligarchy with robber barons and a confederacy, but we don't know how they did it, which is what I am revealing to you because in the aftermath of the great financial crisis where tens of millions of people were set up in the largest criminal grift and conspiracy, financial conspiracy in history, bar none, led to a scenario where we circled the wagons around the power that created this. So imagine this in terms of this analogy. Imagine if you found out that the fires in LA were started by an arsonist, and instead of fix all the problems with all of the money that's got to come in to rebuild and everything else, we gave it to the arsonist who blew it up, and then we gave him 10 times the value of what the actual arson was, and all the lives that were destroyed and everything else. Yeah, that's what we did with our financial system when we gave them tens of trillions of dollars illegally vis-a-vis a workaround of Congress that came from the Federal Reserve called Federal Reserve Act 13.3, who in its very statutes reveal that you can't do what was done, but yet nobody stopped them because media never ever bothered to ask the question because they never understood the racketeering that we show you in the con. That's who I am. That's what I've been involved with for now years. And so I'm a little tired because I've been involved with America's best, most important film festival the last few days, involved with some heavy duty stuff, which was amazing, on top of partying my ass off and snowboarding and watching football games and having a great time. My life is great overall, honestly. But I can tell you, we as a society and a species are playing roulette with the future and the world is on fire. Who doesn't know that? And it's going to get monumentally worse. Your friend here, me, this guy right here, Patrick Lovell, the producer, I have the $71 trillion truth. Based on what I'm telling you. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't me citing other sources. This is me having done the work through everything I've said that corroborates everything, that puts it all together with the freaking evidence. If you happen to be a journalist out there and you want to, dive in, or maybe you want to poke holes in my theories and everything else, they're not theories. I did the discovery, and it's not because I'm just some guy, on a microphone on YouTube that decided, hey, I'm going to just tell you some stuff that I think. No, I did the work, and it's all in my work. In fact, somebody said on my Twitter feed yesterday, which I thought was great. She said, you know what? People have got to see your work before they talk shit. Are you kidding me? And I was like, yeah, well, that's it. But everybody's so busy and they've got so much going on that they can't fucking wrap their heads around the truth. But then they're going to fucking be like, oh, hey, wait, I want to make a comment. I want to actually tell everybody what I think I know, or I want to be somewhat, I want to ridicule those that I don't understand because I don't know anything. And that's what people do because they're stupid and lazy. But not everybody. Not everybody is stupid and lazy. And I'm talking to the people that aren't stupid and lazy. I'm talking to the people that in the game of Squid Games, and it's all Squid Games, okay? If you've watched season 1 and season 2 of Squid Games, you get it, you understand who I am. I'm the guy who survived the game, and I'm the guy who knows how the game is played. So if you want to survive, you want to actually play the same game because the system bet the world that you would stay too stupid and ignorant and complacent and cowardly to stop them. And so far, they've been right. Now you add in the tech bros and the saturation of algorithms and how people get, stuff basically crunched and suppressed and quashed, which is what happened to me in our work. That can happen. But if you understand what the hell's going on based on what I am providing you, and you realize I'm not trying to do it to exploit you, I'm not doing it to try to get rich off of you, I'm not doing it so you think I'm some great guy and you want an autograph by me or whatever celebrity brings. No, I'm doing it because I believe in liberty and justice above all, and the integrity of law above all else, because I'm an American. And that's what I thought Americans were all about. But apparently we're not. We're something different. But this isn't something new in history. It's same as it ever was, as the great prophet David Byrne of the Talking Heads once said. The bottom line is this is what humanity does, and you have to pick a side. You have to pick a lane. And ultimately, what I am providing you is the gateway to rebirth the American dream and the greatest renaissance of possibility in the history of the world once we unite behind the Clean New Deal to purge and bulldoze the misery of tyranny, which is corruption. Because again, to remind you, corruption burns and fuels fascism. Who wants to live in a fascist state in the United States? Not me. So what are we going to do? Well, the precepts of the Clean New Deal address everything that I just said by way of the 4 questions. And what does that mean? Well, our first precept is we've got to create a new Glass-Steagall Act. What that means is you can't have the financial system gamble with other people's money, and then when it blows up based on fraud, which is illegal theft by deception, which is racketeering, can you then make the full faith and credit of the United States available to where they have the keys to the fucking crack in the bank, which are dollars, unlimited? Does that explain the oligarchy? Yeah, it certainly does. You know what the flip side of that coin is? We got to get rid of Citizens United. Legalize corruption, dark money. Anything happen in the dark, good in the dark? Yeah, some fun stuff can happen in the dark, but usually not if you go to the extent of, let's say, P. Diddy. What do they call that? A freak off? That's what we're in the middle of. A P. Diddy billionaire freak off, because billionaires are above the rule of law and market forces, hence oligarchy, which is tyranny 101. And so you got to, get rid of, get a new Glass-Steagall, get rid of Citizens United, and then we're going to demonstrate how $71 trillion was looted. Is there better ways to spend $71 trillion than on doubling down on the power that is skull fucking you and destroying the world at the same time? Yeah, there's definitely better ways to spend the people's money. And I can assure you, again, it's illegal what they did, okay, based on the statutes. And again, it's in our Clean New Deal. But moving forward from demonstrating the $71 trillion truth, look, you got to answer the 4 questions, right? What is qualified immunity? Well, we can't have qualified immunity. Cops shouldn't be able to shoot people and not demonstrate why they shot them was in the sort of parameters of what they did. They can't just shoot somebody and that's the end of the story. But that's what qualified immunity does. And then judicial immunity? Are you kidding me? Putting judges above the law? Look at what we've seen in the Supreme Court with Clarence Thomas and Alito and Warren and all the rest. I mean, are you kidding me? The Supreme Court basically etch-a-sketched the Civil War and the Constitution by making Trump the king. Literally, by how many millions of people died as a result of the Civil War? Not to mention the sacrifice to break the chains of bondage. And a black Supreme Court justice is going to rule with Judge Alito with the upside down flag, which originally meant that American distress that came out of the era of slavery because of abolitionists. And this is the perversion of what all of these morons on MAGA have been able to get away with. And Judge Alito, flung it up above his house so that they could take bribes from billionaires like what's his name? Harlan Crow, and the other guy that was with Alito, who's the big guy in the hedge fund, whose name is eluding me at the right now, but it doesn't matter, because corruption in the Supreme Court. And then you have Sheldon Whitehouse saying, well, we've got to recreate ethics. No, we need the law for judges. Did you ever see The Godfather? Oh my God, corruption is what it's all about. And it's insane. In the information that I have, quite frankly, I've got evidence of literally tens of millions of liar foreclosures working through their system because of liars' loans that the entire judiciary around the United States worked for a corrupt enterprise that got tens of trillions of dollars to basically destroy the United States in the middle class. Oh, yeah, that happened 14 years ago. That happened 14 years ago, and we're talking about oligarchy now. So you end qualified immunity, you end judicial immunity, you end presidential immunity. But how does all of that work out in our so-called democracy? Which, of course, the Republicans have been telegraphing for a long time that no, we're not a democracy, we're a representative republic, which means ruled by the minority, which means the electoral college, which of course was used to basically lie and create fraudulent signatures to try to steal the electoral college for Donald Trump in 2020 that led to the insurrection, so-called big lie, which is Trump's formula: lie, deny, switch the blame, and implicate. Right? Unbelievable stuff. And then we have to create 13 justices on the Supreme Court immediately. And then because we've got to be able to, basically create a balance so we have the scales of justice again, because of the Trump court and all the things that Mitch McConnell was able to pull off with the corrupt Republicans forever, which is the diabolical betrayal is unprecedented. But absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we've known for a very long time that when a group of men discover plunder, they create a legal code to glorify, or excuse me, a legal code to authorize it and a moral code to glorify it. It's smoke and mirrors, the greatest trick the devil ever played. Yeah, that's good and evil, my friends. That's diabolical deception. And in the past, and in history, different times in history, well, yeah, bad guys get away for a long time, and then something happens to obliterate that, and then it goes on and on and on, and the world keeps spinning, and we live our lives, and now it's up to us. Because Biden did say one thing that'll add to the precepts of the Clean New Deal. Yeah, you cannot allow Congress to be involved with insider trading. Who doesn't know that? And then, yeah, you have to have term limits, I think, might be the cause. These are all the way the civil rights movement of the Clean New Deal could manifest to be able to create an opportunity for the revolution without having a bloody revolution. If millions of us had this information and we showed up in Washington, D.C. and surrounded all of the corrupt actors, from the Federal Reserve to the Department of Justice to Congress to the Supreme Court, and then of course the presidency, and then we exodus from corruption to the National Mall underneath the gaze of Abraham Lincoln, who said, "A nation of, by, and for the people cannot perish from this earth, or shall not." And then, of course, across the reflecting pond from Martin Luther King, who said, "The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice." It's what Americans do and what we have done. But how fresh is it for people like Biden, who's been part of the system for 50 years, to say, yeah, well, you got to do what we prevented you from doing the whole time. And same with Rachel Maddow. And then all these other liars that are just trying to, look, there is no other person that's going to give you this information. Now, I'm willing to share it with everybody, and I'm willing to get on board a whole lot of other things that rising tide raises all ships. But when you understand that in this country, God is money and how money works and where money comes from, and you understand what I just laid out, there is nothing that isn't connected to this. You want to get rid of systemic policing in prisons? Yeah, this is part of it. You want to create a renaissance of renewable energy paradigm while Donald Trump is actually destroying everything that we've done for the last however many years, including Biden. And Biden made the giant mistake not to celebrate that. I mean, they did in pockets to right people with micro-targeting and micro-marketing, but they didn't really make that central. What they did was they said, oh, yeah, we drill more than we ever have in the history of the world, and we're the largest producers of fossil fuel on the planet. Oh, yeah, well, hey, can you be both at the same time? Yeah, not if you've got integrity. No, if you're a political Machiavellian that wants to be on a slippery slope to hell to get to a point where you play the card later that we're going to have to stop oligarchy and you're going to listen to all the people that made that happen, you'd have to be a complete idiot to buy that. Maybe you'd have to be somebody who would vote for MAGA. And Donald Trump is just simply a red carpet reflection of all that I'm telling you. And what I'm telling you is enabling you to see the emperor's new clothes for what it is and the forest for the trees. It's all about the money, and it's all about integrity of a system. You do not have to have the training right now to understand that if you get on board and you become a vector for light, that you become what is the universal truth. Because what do we know about the power of the force of light? It overcomes darkness with the supernova, which is energy, which is you. So if tens of millions of you want to live in a country and a society, a balance of power and the integrity of law, i.e., the Bill of Rights to the Constitution, where character reigns supreme, you can't allow the perversion of all of this stuff to happen. What would you do if you were in your church and you found out that your priest was raping your sister? Or you? Would you resist? Would you defeat the ability for that to happen? Many of you don't. And I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those of you who would stand up for righteous justice and indignation and really the power of 1,000 suns to force the truth through the darkness. That's what this all is. Because when you live in light, you live in truth. When you live a lie, you're depraved. When you have the truth, you're bulletproof. When you lie, inside you die. We're at the crossroads, my friends. The Red Sea is parting. I'm leading Exodus from corruption. So you either stand back and ignore me and drown, or come with me and be liberated. And we redeem the dream. That's what this is all about. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a terrific day. I'm always available anytime anybody wants to reach out to me and help us and find a role in this whole application. But the time to move was really 14 years ago, and it's got a lot worse since. There is no time to lose, but we have all the answers that can bulldoze the misery of tyranny to create the renaissance of possibility. What side do you want to be on? I choose light.